We are again taking a single view application. That is, I'm putting iOS controls and leaving rest of the stuff as it is. And I don't want to use the core data. So I unchecked and using Swift programming language and want to have the storyboard for UI design. This is the default structure of the application, which contains app delegate and scene delegate, which handles the application lifecycle. Whereas UIViewController, which handles the controller lifecycle, and the main.storyboard is the place where exactly you design the user interface, and launch storyboard is the one thing where the launch screen is displayed. Info.plist is the configuration file where you can declare your application name as well as the bundle identifier, version numbers, etc. And this is the project folder where you can configure and you can use some other libraries, linking and code signing. These things will be available here. We have seen app delegate lifecycle, like application did finish launching with absence. This is the first method which gets called. Then we are having lifecycle methods like application will become active, application did enter foreground, application will design active, application did enter background, application will terminate. Application will terminate method gets called when the application is about to close, about to end its process. Okay, but we cannot see that. And we have seen the other methods like when the application becomes active, when the application will design active, and the application is going to background, foreground, or active state, inactive state. Okay, we're having a separate class for the states, but we have seen the methods which are available in the scene delegate class. Did become active, will design active, will enter foreground, will enter, did enter background. Okay, and this is the first method which gets called when you launch the application. We kept the print statement here and printed the flow. Now I'll show you the UIViewController lifecycle. By default, you get view did load. This is the method which gets called when the UIViewController is created and the UIViewController is instantiated. UIViewController also having a couple of lifecycle methods. That is, the view will appear. I'm just writing print statement with the view will appear. View did appear. We are using the existing functionality, then want to customize. So this is the method we are using override. Override means this method is already present somewhere in its superclass. The superclass here is the UIViewController. In the UIViewController, the view did appear method is already defined. I want to customize it. I want to override by using. I want to customize it by using overriding. So that I'm using override keyword. Then view did appear, view will disappear, view did disappear.
Why we will write super dot these things? What is this mean?
Yeah, I'll tell you. You will disappear and okay. These are the 5 lifecycle methods. There is one more thing. You layout service. You did layout service. First of all, I will show you the flow. Then we talk about the super and override keywords. We will disappear. This is the default view controller which we have got. It is a subclass of UIViewController. The application is already launched. I'll just give some color so that we can differentiate. Background color equal to red. This is the flow of the application view controller lifecycle. View did load gets called when the application view controller is loaded into the memory. We will appear. Will means it is about to appear to you. If you want to perform any operations, you can perform here. View will layouts or views. If there are any supply components here, those are about to lay out. View did. Items are already laid out. View did appear. View is appeared to the user. Just click the back button, home button. Come back. To show you the other methods, I need one more view controller. Let me drag and drop a view controller here. View controller. I'll have a button. Move to second and just giving segue. This show. Let me rerun it. Actually, here we are having two view controllers. View is loaded into the memory. View will appear. View is about to appear. View will layout service. Services are about to lay out. View did layout service. Services are laid out. View did appear. View is appeared to the user. Now I am clicking move to. I am moving to first view controller to second view controller. Oops. One moment. Supposed to call. Maybe even I don't know. Time see the methods are not getting called. I will show you. Yes. However, we are having application lifecycle methods. Similarly, for each view controller, based upon the user interactions, some methods will be called. The view controller will react. Okay. The first reaction is view did load. View is loaded into the memory, and view will appear. View is about to appear. Ignore these two. View did appear. View is appeared to the user. View will disappear whenever you are moving from one view controller to another view, second view controller. from first to second. It is saying that first view controller is about to disappear. If you want to perform anything, you can perform here. View did disappear. View is disappeared. Now I have moved to the second view controller. If you want to perform anything after moving to the second view controller, you can perform in the first view controller. Even this view controller contains the same methods. Let me put the same stuff here as well. For the second view controller, there is no class actually. Still, we are able to use it. Still, we are able to use it because it is, if you see, it is view controller only. The class of this is UIViewController. That is the reason this view controller is handled by the UIViewController. This view controller is handled by the view controller. View controller is again UIViewController subclass only. So this is working. If you take NS object, if you take string here, string does not allow actually. Inheritance is not allowed by the string, right? Let me take some class test. If you use this test, it won't accept, or else I can directly give this is class, this is UIViewController. I'm just using this is also a class, right? Let me give that class here. See if it is allowing. Run it. It is giving error. What is that? Warning object does not implement method signature for selector unit with coder. We got some error. It is actually saying that this view controller cannot be handled by the class test. Class test is not the right person to handle this view controller. To handle this view controller, there should be object either direct object of UIViewController or indirect object of UIViewController. Not the, if you give UIViewController here, it works. We have to give either direct view controller or subclass of UIViewController. It is moved to second as well. I'll change the background color here. For the first, I'll put some other color. Move to 2. Still we are able to achieve the functionality. Even if you use here subclass of UIViewController, our work is done. Subclass of UIViewController is that is viewcontroller. I want to customize it. I want to perform some operations. I want to put some gray color when the application is launched, when the view controller is loaded. I'm setting that here. To set, there should be some methods. There should be some methods which should get called. This is the method which gets called when the view controller is loaded into the memory. This method is part of UIViewController, part of SuperView. To use the same methods in subclass, we have to use override keyword. That is the reason override. Even if you see here, you will layout service, right? Layout service, when you enter, automatically it is giving you the override. This method is already existing in superclass. If you want to add additional functionality in the same method, you can use the override keyword. What I want to do is I want to use the existing functionality of the SuperView, as well as I want to add my own functionality to notify user that this method is called. To use the superclass functionality, you have to use the super keyword. Here I am using super keyword. Super keyword and calling we will layout service. If I don't use super, what happens? This method gets called repeatedly. This method is called by the OS. Then our view controller is about layout, its subviews. Here we are calling view will layout subviews. This is equivalent to self dot, right? In the same class, this method is called. So again, it comes here repeatedly calls. You can see this as well. So what I want to do is I want to get the superclass functionality which is available in the view controller. On top of that, I want to use see it is black. No color is displayed. We are setting gray here. Repeatedly, finally crashed. Okay. What I want is I don't want to use I don't want to write everything from the scratch. I want to use the superclass functionality, whatever is there. Then I want to add my own functionality. This is my own functionality. Even this is my own functionality. Here, this is my own functionality. Any doubt about the super keyword we use to access the super functionality, superclass functionality? Here, we will appear is part of UIViewController. I'll show you that. We will appear is a method, M means method, which is part of UIViewController. In the UIViewController, what is UIViewController here? UIViewController is the superclass of our class. So I want to use the same method and override it. To use the same method, you have to use the override. To use the same functionality, you have to use the super layout service or super keyword actually. Super keyword, then our additional functionality, whatever you want. This is the life cycle of the view controller. In interviews, they will ask you, what is the superclass of view controller or general view controller? That is the UIViewController. What is the superclass of UIViewController? See, UI responder. What is the superclass of UI responder? It is NS object. NS object is the topmost class in the iOS. That is the main class. That is the root class. That also asked. And what are the lifecycle methods of view controller? The sequence is very, very important. First one is the view did load. Then the view controller is instantiated and the view controller is loaded into the memory. This will be called. Then view will appear. View is about to appear on the screen. This is the sequence. Then we will layout service. We did layout service. We did appear. We is appear to the user. We will disappear. We is about to disappear whenever you are moving from one view controller to another view controller. We is about to disappear, and view did disappear when the view controller is completely dismissed and another view controller is pushed and another view controller is presented. Then this method gets called. These are the lifecycle methods of the UIViewController. This is the sequence. Okay, when you again come back, what happens? When you again come back from second view controller, first view controller, what happens again? View did load will not be called because the view is already in the memory. View will appear will be called. View will layout service will be called. Did layout service will be called. View did appear will be called. Again, these four methods will be called when you come from second view controller to first view controller. Let me take second view controller also here. Now I am going to create one more view controller, which is after class actually. I am taking Cocoa Touch class by default. You can take the Swift file and you can create the Cocoa Touch class. You can create a class actually, which is supposed to be subclass of UIViewController only. If it is not subclass of UIViewController, the object, the class will not be handled. Cannot handle the view controller. So Cocoa Touch class is the default template. You will see the difference here. If you simply create any class, you don't get anything. When you create a Cocoa Touch subclass, second view controller, you will also get the lifecycle method of that. That is view did load. So this is not required. I will tell you. Okay. Here also you can, if you see, same methods will be called again. If you put those methods, same methods will be called. Even this is a subclass of UIViewController, so it is also having same set of methods. It is also having same set of features. Same flow again here. Now this is the second view controller. I want to come back. How to come back? I'm just writing a method. You can go back. You can ignore it for now. This is the second view controller. I want to create move back. Move back is my button. I'll explain you everything, like how to view the connections, what is the IV override, IV action, everything. For now, select the view controller. Tell the view controller here handle the second view controller. And here we have a method. Drag and drop, touch up inside. Ivanni మీరు already చూసే ఉంటారు. Anyways, I am explaining. I meant to say view controller life cycle. If you see here, first view controller is loaded, so all the methods got called in the first view controller. For the second view controller, we are not using any print statements, so nothing will be displayed. I am moving to the second view controller. View will disappear. View is about to disappear. View controller one is about to disappear. If you want to perform anything, you perform. I am performing print statement, so that is printed. View did disappear. View is about to. View is disappeared. The other view is already presented on top of first view controller. Then move back. View will appear. View did appear. These two methods called view will appear. View is about to appear. View did appear. View is appeared. If you see here clearly, view did load is called only once. View will layout and view did layout also called only once. Okay, the rest of the methods of view will appear, view did appear, view will disappear, view did disappear. This method will be called repeatedly when you move back and forth. Okay, even this method will not be called more than once at any point of time. Means once the view controller is loaded onto the memory, one object is already present. You don't know how to create again and again. These methods you can call them by, let me put first view controller. View dot layout settings. See what happens. I'm just thinking. Generally, people says that view did load is the one method. View will appear is the another method. View did appear. View will disappear. View did disappear are the lifecycle methods. Actually, these two are also important. If you tell to the interviewer that these are the these two are also methods which are part of view controller lifecycle. When the view is appeared, I'm just putting layouts like this. I'm just checking it actually. First time it is happened. Yeah. Even the view did layout also getting called only once. We will and view did. Okay. This method gets called only once. Where if you want to put any kind of stuff to be loaded, then the view controller is appear to the user, you can perform the things here. Okay, the repeated content which you want to have can have in the view will appear, view did appear, because those are the repeatedly called methods when you move back and forth. Any doubts here?